The Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies saga has finally come to an end, with him being traded to the Portland Trail Blazers for Jeremiah Grant and Chris Murray. He was the last standing member of their 2022 core, with Jaren now being on the Utah Jazz, Desmond being on the Orlando Magic, and Dillon Brooks moving to Houston and then eventually to the Phoenix Suns. What this means for Ja is very interesting, and even more interesting for the Portland Trail Blazers and the Memphis Grizzlies. But before I get into that, I just want to say, please make sure you like and subscribe. Not only do these things help me with the algorithm, but they let me know what type of content everyone is liking. And if you don't like it, leave a dislike. You may not see it, but I see it. There's just a little disclaimer, I am not dressed as formal for a Ja Morant trade, although everyone in the NBA, yes, me and you, was waiting for it. I had a volunteering event for this. I have seen the Kawhi trade, and I will make a video on that tomorrow, hopefully. I will be working, but I'm not sure if I can make a video tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then the next day. But this was something that I wanted to get out. I should have made a video for the LaMelo trade, and maybe I'll do that later in the offseason just to look at the fit. But the Kawhi trade, I think, rightfully deserves its own video, because that's a superstar who's arguably a top 10 player and changes the whole landscape of the East. But further ado, what this means for Memphis Grizzlies. Let's start with them, because I feel like that's who I least need to discuss. It felt like the era where Ja Morant was coming to a natural close after all the off-the-court issues, his health being an issue, him not playing that much, the issues that he had with the new coaching and the new offense style. I think this got kind of swept on the radar, but Ja Morant really didn't like Taylor Jenkins, who went on to kind of design the offense for the Miami Heat. I believe that's where he is now, with like their quick movement style and just attack, kick it out, try and get away to the rim. He didn't really like that. He wanted the ball in his hand. He wanted to run pick and rolls. That was what he was most comfortable in, and I'd argue that's what he was most effective in. But that and them now transitioning into an era where they have a lot of young players who they feel like they can maximize with Ja not on the team. That includes Cam Boozer, Gigi Jackson, Cedric Coward, and I believe another rookie I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't know if I added in, but sure. It just felt like a natural way to end things. He had 2 more years left on the contract, but they probably felt that he was, hindering the growth of the young players. And they trade him, and what they get back is nothing spectacular, to be honest. If I had to rate the trade itself from a Memphis Grizzlies perspective, it's hard to do so, to be honest, because I don't know what they wanted in return. I think they definitely could have got first round picks. The value of Ja around the league isn't as high as it was before, but I still think a team maybe like the Celtics could have given him a first round pick and maybe some more better younger players. But I'm guessing that they were happy with the young talent they have. They just don't want to hoard people and not be able to develop all of them. But the return is something that I like. Jeremiah Grant, expiring contract. Chris Murray, a younger player, I believe he's on contract for 2 or 3 more years, but he's only making $6 million a year, so nothing too much. Now let's bring up the trade from the Portland perspective. Portland get a young and promising player. I know I just said a lot of bad things about Ja, not bad, but like things that didn't make him valuable, but Ja Morant is still a very, very good basketball player. He is arguably a top 10 point guard, top 5 point guard. Some would make the case. I won't, but some will make the case that he's a top 5 point guard. And they get rid of a horrible contract in Jeremiah Grant. I don't know what they were thinking when they were, giving him that much money. But I guess they didn't really have anyone to pay. They have a lot of cap room. They free up more money. They're freeing up more money in the future. When they do have to eventually pay their guys, and they lose Chris Murray, who I don't think was a huge wasn't really consequential for them, and they don't have to attach any picks, not even any second round picks, which with as drafts are going on, the talent pool is getting bigger. Second round picks, I think, are more valuable than they were 10 years ago. But that's a whole different scenario. What Ja Morant means for Portland is very, very interesting, because you have a plethora of guards you can play. You have Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, who is hopefully going to play. Not sure if he's going to be on a minutes restriction, but you don't know what he's going to look like. Drew Holiday, obviously very productive, winning player, going to contribute. Do you keep him? Do you put him on the trade block? Unsure. There are a lot of contenders that want him. Off the top of my head, the Celtics would love to have him. The Miami Heat would love to pair him with Giannis. So that's just 2 off the top of my head. The Lakers could potentially use him, but that's a different issue. Damian Lillard, he is on their books for I believe 2 more years, but they don't owe him much money either. He is getting paid majority of the money that he's getting is from the Milwaukee Bucks, so he is kind of, I guess, just like someone you can have on the roster that develop the young guys, but I'm not sure how involved he's going to be in the future for them, just because you don't know what he's going to look like. He could come back averaging 20-7, play 65 games, 70 games, and, you know, demand more money in the offseason, maybe go somewhere else. I don't know how likely that is going to be for an aging guard, but we can only wait and see. Third, they have Scoot Henderson, who after, let's just call it underwhelming, first 2 seasons, put together a really solid regular season. This is a guy who I was really keen on going into the draft. I really liked what he did in the postseason. He kind of put it together. So I'd say, is he someone you say, no, we are not trading him in a trade? I don't think so. He's someone you'd be willing to give up in a trade, but because his skill set is obviously very useful for other teams in the league, but I'm not sure how you move forward with him. He is going to eventually want to be paid. You could decline the team option and get him on a very team-friendly deal just because his value isn't that high. But let's say he breaks out in his 4th year, you're going to pay him a lot more money. And then you obviously have Shaedon Sharpe, who is a very good player. The team direction is actually very confusing to me. I don't know where they are going in the future. They have a new owner who is very frugal, doesn't want to spend money, didn't want to give the fans shirts, is firing people left and right, and rumors that he's moving the team to another place. I'm not going to engage in that because frankly that's not my business, and I don't have the sources that a lot of the other media guys have that will, you know, tell them if this is something that's likely holds any weight or is this just a rumor. So I won't dive into that speculation, but the general direction is very confusing. They did manage to bring back Robert Williams, who had a really good playoffs as well. 3 years, $44 million, I want to say. 3 years, 44, so around 15-14 million, which is what he was asking for, and which is a huge loss for other teams around the league. But that being said, I don't know what they're going to do. Speaking for Ja personally, he is in a very tough position. Like I said, his value around the league has declined very, very much. He is not the same guy he was 2-3 years ago. Injury concerns, can he really stay on the floor? How does he fit alongside with this Portland Trailblazers team? Is this a guy who you're going to start? Is this someone you're going to play alongside Denny because he wants the ball in his hand? And how much do you trust Ja as an off-ball player? Because that's something he's had a problem with in the past. He wants the ball in his hand, he wants to run his pick and roll, and it just depends how you want to play that. I think you have a solid front court that you're happy taking into the future. I'm going to put up a starting 5 now, which I think is kind of optimistic that Dame is going to start, coming off that huge injury. But I think that's a very solid 5 you could have. Dame can definitely play at the shooting guard. You could just as well have Drew Holiday or Scoot there if you move off Drew. Sorry, pardon me. My fault, Drew, Celtics legend. But it's very interesting. Does Ja want to stay on the Portland Trailblazers for the future? And if he does stay, what kind of money does he get in a free market if he goes out into free agency? Is he a guy that people are going to pay $40 million for? I mean, considering some of his peers around the league, De'Aaron Fox is making a lot of money, but everyone knows that that is not a good contract. LaMelo Ball is making a lot of money, but we just saw his team move off him, and I don't know how much money he would demand today. Trae Young made a lot of money, but that is a very situational thing. The Wizards have no one to pay, no one at all, and I don't know how much money Ja Morant gets. Does he get $40 million? I'm not sure. Yeah, but I don't think it'll be much more than that. I don't think teams are going to be lining up to sign Ja Morant for 5 years, $40 million. That's not something you're going to... $40 million a year, obviously. I don't think there will be many teams lining up to do that. He's a guy who's going to have to, as weird as it sounds, prove that he can still provide something for a team. He is one of the best guys getting downhill. He's very athletic. Playmaking is not going to hurt anyone. Shooting, not the best. Defense, not the best. But he's a very interesting piece. I wonder if the Portland Trailblazers are including him in the future plans, because they don't have a solid guard. Like I said, Dame is old, Drew is old. There is only so many more years you can start them, and you're going to eventually have to start thinking about your point guard of the future, your guard of the future. Whether that's Shaden or Scoot, I don't know. Whether that's Ja, I don't know. It's very interesting, but there's rumors that they're gearing up to potentially sign some big free agents. I believe that there was a rumor that Legend of Winning, a huge content creator in this space, said that they are potentially looking to gear up and make a pitch to Jokic. The Nuggets, as we know, the past few years haven't been the best. Lost to the OKC Thunder, lost this year to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Aaron Gordon isn't getting any healthier. Jamal Murray, once he gets to the playoffs against physical defense, isn't getting any better. You have that horrible contract for Christian Brown and Peyton Watson. You don't know if you're going to be able to keep him. You just lost Tim Hardaway Jr. You still have a few good players on the team, but Jokic may want to move to Portland. I know he said he wants to, play for the Nuggets, and there's rumors that he's thinking about retiring, but Portland would make a very, very interesting pitch. And if I'm Jokic, it's going to be pretty hard to say no. I mean, you have Denny gonna pitch that. You have Kamara, Donovan Clingan. Don't know how he fits into that picture, but it's a very solid team, and yeah, it's very interesting what they're going to do in the future. I've rambled on quite a bit. There was not that much structure to this, but I do appreciate anyone that stayed, and please let me know anything that I could do better. Leave something in the comments. I will be making a Kawhi video in the next few days. I'm going to be working tomorrow, so I'll see just how content creatory I'm feeling to see if that video is going to come out. But yeah, I'll be making a Kawhi video. If another big trade happens, I'll make a video then, and I'm probably going to be making a video on the LaMelo trade and also LeBron, potentially where he's going to sign, and obviously Giannis. But yeah, I appreciate if you guys have watched for this long, and yeah, wait for the next one. Subscribe for the next one.